Today we're talking to St Albans City manager Ian Allinson at Clarence Park, where the Saints' delayed FA Cup second round qualifying tie against Corinthian Casuals finally took place, and it's a bit of a surprise the outcome, Ian, a 1-1 draw. Most positive thing I can say about that, we're still in the cup.
Yeah, I don't think it's a surprise though in the FA Cup, because I think a lot of teams will raise their game when they're playing against teams from a higher league. So it's not something that I wasn't surprised with at the end of the game. Disappointed because I didn't think our performance was to any length in terms of the performances we've been putting in over the last few weeks. I felt we was off the game, but that's football at the end of the day. We have to accept it. I felt we looked very, very tired. I felt we looked very heavy-legged, and at the moment we've got a changing room that's feeling a little bit sorry for itself in terms of a bit of a flu virus going round, and obviously Saturday's game probably took a lot more out of us than we expected, and so I'm not going to be too hard on the players because they still put a good performance in, but disappointing because I didn't think there was any sharpness in our performance at all this evening. There
were a few changes from Saturday's side. There should have been enough fresh legs who'd have thought to see us over the line, but early on Casuals gave us some warnings what we're capable of, and we took a long time to respond to it.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing about it was we tried to freshen it up and just give one or two of the players who had to work extremely hard on Saturday a bit of a rest. But I felt once we made the substitutions again, we got a bit more energy into the side. But certainly, we had a spell in the second half where we had a couple of chances, 3 or 4 chances, where we started to move the ball really quick and play at higher tempo. Where if we'd have got a second goal there, it probably put the game to bed. Unfortunately, we've been undone 4 minutes from the end with a wicked deflection that has ended up in the back of the net. But it's probably more, they deserve something, I felt, on the night for their performance. They came here and made life very difficult for us, never left us any space, and in the end we wasn't good enough to go and win the game, even though we did have 2 or 3 really good chances in the second half.
Yeah, because early on they hit woodwork. Dean Snedden made a good save. We had to scramble one off our goal line in the second half. That didn't look like a side that lost 6-1 in the league on Saturday. No,
you have to ask them questions. I can't answer that. That's their manager's decision at the end of the day, how they lost that and how they've responded tonight. But as I said earlier, that any team coming here that is the league below us will raise their game. We see that last year with Cambridge City, who came here, who were 2 leagues below us and raised their game. We've seen it in the past. So, as I say, we didn't quite reach the heights. We now know one thing about it: we're not out of the cup. We've had to defend. In the last couple of minutes, there were a couple of decent corners, and we could have nicked something again in the last minute. But unfortunately, that's football. At the end of the day, we have to accept that. It would have been nice to have got through and got Taunton on Saturday, but unfortunately, as I said all along, these FA Cup ties are going to be difficult. It's going to be tough in terms of the way we have to plan and prepare, and really through no fault of our own, it's left us in a situation where, with what happened the previous Saturday with no game and then playing Chelmsford on Saturday, I just felt, as I say, a little bit tired today. I felt we were a little bit heavy-legged, and as I say, we've got 1 or 2, we got probably more than that. We've got 3 or 4 that are feeling a little bit under the weather today, and but they've done great to play. Now we've got to make sure that we get them sorted out on Thursday night, that we rest them, and then we try and get this virus that's going around the change room at the moment out of the club, and then we can get back to winning ways again.
I think we're going to hear it in your voice there as well, and you're a bit croaky there.
I was probably shouting today in the first half. I think we're just a little bit dead. We were a little bit dead, I felt, from the first whistle. We never really got to grips. Our passing was really slow today. And it's probably the best the pitch has been in terms of having a nice bit of wet dew on there. And I thought we'd have gone out and really passed the ball with an energy and a patience, but I thought we were a little bit slow and laboured in everything we did today.
There's obviously the delay to the game has been well documented. Your reaction to it has been well documented. Did that have an effect today?
I wouldn't say it had an effect today. I don't think it's helped our preparation, because really we should have been a spare week this week. We should have been thinking about going to an FA Cup tie if we'd have got through 10 days ago. But unfortunately now we're in a situation we don't know when the replay is going to be, because we've been told by the FA it's Saturday and their secretary's told us it's now Sunday. So there's no way I'm going to be playing on Sunday and want to go to Taunton if we got through on a Tuesday night, because it's just really unfair on what's happened. But the rules are there from the FA. They make these rules and we have to just go along with them. But as you got to respect that we're a part-time football club. I've got players that go to work. I've got players that are on building sites and they're doing 16,000 steps with wheelbarrows every single day. So it's not easy for them to plan and prepare. And at the moment, as I said to you there, You know, we can't play whether we're playing Saturday or we're playing Saturday or Sunday. We haven't got a clue at the moment, so we've got to wait till tomorrow. We've got to take training on Thursday night and then find out from where we are. So it's still a shambles. It's been a shambles from our point of view because, as I say, on that lead up to that game, we'd planned and prepared and done everything correctly, and unfortunately, you know, it was decided at sort of 2:30 on the Friday that the game would no longer take place. And then I think Corinthian Casuals has probably been in the same situation. They have to plan and prepare their games, but as I say, it's quite easy to come to a conference side and raise your game, and which they've done tonight, and full credit to them. But we've now got to go and make sure that we raise our game on Saturday or Sunday or whenever we play the game, because you know, we've got to make sure that we hit the heights that we've done over the last couple of weeks and come away with, and make sure we're in the tie against Taunton whenever that's going to be played now. So it's crazy.
But you've seen them tonight now, so will you go into the replay, whatever it is, with a better understanding of what they're about?
I think it gives me a clearer understanding. I mean, it's you know, it's not something that we haven't had the reports on. I mean, we had the replay against Whiteleaf watched, and we had a report on that. We had a report from Saturday's game. So yeah, and I think you're right, and David said it earlier, is that their performance on Saturday, and they've not made too many changes, they've only made a couple of changes from where they were on Saturday, but you know, they've got an energy about them, they've got pace about them, and as David said, you have to question, you know, how they've got turned over 6-1 on Saturday. But as I said earlier, that's not my concern, that's their manager's concern. But full credit to them to come here tonight, and they've made life difficult for us, worked extremely hard. And was they fortunate at the end? I mean, from our point of view, they're fortunate because they've got a wicked deflection that's obviously gives them a second opportunity in the tie. So I felt we'd done enough up till then to see them out. They were obviously starting to come out a little bit more and chase the game, and I just felt with a little bit more quality we could have gone and got a second. Unfortunately, their keeper's made a couple of really good saves. That's kept it from going 2-0, where I think if we'd have got 2-0, we'd have killed the game.
Well, the FA Cup itself, Ian, is incentive enough for improved performances. But if you look at when they're going to have those two games, replay possibly Saturday or Sunday, and then Taunton a few days later, win those two, and there's £24,000 up for grabs.
It is. It's fantastic, as we said before. In terms of the finances, it's great. But you know, at the moment, it's you know, we've got to concentrate first on the first game and try and get the first pot of money. If we're not good enough down at Corinthians on Saturday or Sunday, then we won't have any money. So, you know, it is important to the club as well to try and win as much as we can. So it would be a blow if we didn't win it, because obviously it puts everybody else under pressure. But you know, we can only do that once we know where we are. As we said last year at this same stage, we played Cambridge City here and had to go to a replay and get a positive result from there, and then obviously we progressed from that side of it. But again, you know, I think everyone's a little bit down after the game, because I think, you know, we expected if we could turn up and put a performance in that we'd be good enough, and on the night we haven't been good enough, which is disappointing. And as I say, I didn't expect a laboured performance like we had tonight. I just didn't think there was any energy about our performance, and maybe Saturday took more out of us than we expected, because we had to do a lot of defending, especially in that last 20-25 minutes, and a lot of players hadn't played for a couple of weeks. I mean, that's why it was important to try and get, you know, games under David Moyo and Merce and Zane Banton, because they've not played any football again for nearly 3 weeks. And you know, we have only got a small squad, of 16-man squad. One of them, Richard Shaw, is injured at the moment, so you know, it's put a lot of pressure on players to try and get games underneath them, and obviously try and help from that side of it. But we can't bemoan any of that. At the end of the day, we've not been good enough today to take anything out of the game in terms of a victory. So we have to go to them on Saturday or Sunday.
You mentioned the bug that's going around the dressing room, and you touched on Richard Show's silver van. How's he getting on?
He's seen a specialist today, and he has an MRI scan on Friday, so hopefully we'll know more then. They're thinking down the line it's a bit more of a cartilage, which is obviously from our side is a lot better than first thought of. But we'll have to know. We'll know more on Friday after he's had the scan, and then we've got the results back from the specialist, and in which way they're going to deal with it, because it might be a small operation or a slight clean up in there. We don't know. They think there's something might be floating around in there, like a bit of cartilage that might have torn off. But until we have the MRI scan, we can't really decide until he comes back with a specialist report next week.
Any other knocks?
No, it's not so much knocks. It's just, as I say, we've got the whole of the back three tonight. I've got this flu virus going around. Caldecosta's got it. So there's 4, and Ben White was feeling a little bit under the weather. So, you know, we've got 4 or 5 in there feeling a little bit under the weather at the moment. So, as I say, we've got to try and nurse them, get them back, and try and get the sharpness back into the team. Because, as I say, it certainly wasn't there tonight, which is disappointing.
Lovely, thanks so much, Ian. So, reminder then, Normal City 1, Corinthian Casuals 1. The replay sometime this weekend. Keep an eye on the websites over the next few days, and all the details will appear on there.
It's a fun.